I have found the best show on TV.
Judge Steve Harvey!
And that show is Judge Steve Harvey. I don't know if you've heard about this show, seen this show. I was watching something the other day, and all of a sudden, Steve Harvey's on the TV, but he ain't doing Family Feud. He's a judge now.
Court is now in session.
I've seen a lot of courtroom dramas in my life, and nothing compares to the drama that goes down inside this man's courtroom.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Steve Harvey!
He is the law. He knows the law. He makes... Sometimes he makes up the law in his own courtroom, but it's okay because the show's called Judge Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey!
This is really good TV, and you can trust me on that because I've seen all 93 seasons of Little People, Big World.
Basically, our fort's a piece of crap.
Even the bailiff is laughing at this whole idea. Like, what did I just sign up for? Why is she laughing? She's supposed to uphold the law with Judge... That'd be the best surprise ever, to show up to work and Steve Harvey is your boss / best friend. Steve Harvey, if you're watching this, if you want to be best friends, just call me. The format of this courtroom drama is like any other courtroom TV show. There's a plaintiff and defendant. They both state their cases, and then the judge, in this case, Judge Harvey, he makes a verdict after hearing them and making fun of the situation for a while. Whatever he says goes because, well, he's the law. And you sign a contract saying that whatever he says is good. To start, they only give each person 30 seconds to state their case, which doesn't seem like enough time.
You've got 30 seconds to state your case.
But the first lady goes and takes like 8 seconds to state her case.
Hello, Judge Harvey. I'm here today suing my former friend, Melanie Starrett, for fixing my fence, damages from her tree, and half for the party.
You got 22 seconds more. Use them to your advantage. You got to get Steve on your side. That's what this whole thing is about. Just a quick side note. Who is Judge Harvey?
Hello, Judge Harvey.
There's no Judge Harvey. His name is Steve Harvey, and his professional name is Judge Steve Harvey. But there's no such thing as Judge Harvey. My boy Steve, he should have thrown her out of the courtroom right there for just being so disrespectful. He's a judge now. If you're in Family Feud, call him what you want. But not on this show, not in the courtroom, not in the court of law. The cases are, like you imagine, just so random, and they like put different things in these cases. And what I mean by that is the first case in the first episode of the first season, it's about a fence that like got knocked down, and then a party. Not a fence that got knocked down because of the party, a fence that got knocked down, and like several months later, they had a party. And like, you know what, if we're gonna sue him and Judge Steve Harvey's courtroom, might as well just throw it all into one lawsuit and see what sticks.
For half of the cost of her party she threw, and for damages done to repair her dilapidated fence that branches damaged during a storm.
The entire process of winning your case is getting Steve to like you. And apparently, that is through the use of puns.
You both decided that you are former friends?
We're not mending fences.
I like that, that's hot.
On a separate, completely unrelated topic, look how nice that chair is. It's fancy, it's high back, it's got like the race car side seats. This is a $99 chair from Office Depot. It's comfortable, but if I'm gonna get my own judge show on TV, Judge Joshy. This show has all the makings of a very high-end courtroom drama that is set for prime-time television.
Especially not a dilapidated one.
Dilapidated?
No, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute! You said what?
Stop.
No.
Hold on.
Not my
Wait a
courtroom!
minute.
The people keep interrupting each other like crazy, but Steve Harvey's a judge, and he is nothing if not fair.
I'm gonna give everybody a chance to tell their story.
It's actually a super funny show. We sat down to watch it, not knowing what to expect. It's just in this really weird format because it's Steve Harvey, who is a comedian, and you've got this courtroom show. And typical courtroom shows like Judge Judy, they take themselves way too seriously, and they mixed them together to see what happened. And I've got a feeling even Steve at this point, look at his facial expressions in this, I think he might be wondering if he made the right decision. He's like 3 minutes in on the first episode. He is the common sense judge. So he's looking at this picture. So this lady puts the picture up and says, my fence is leaning, and She's like, yeah, my husband put the rope on it to keep it from falling over. And luckily, Steve went into forensics mode to figure out what exactly this rope was doing there.
And my husband had to hold it up with the rope.
The fence that's leaning is leaning more
It's
into
leaning
your yard.
to my yard.
Right. So why would you have a rope
Okay.
tied
So
That's
to help it lean more into your yard?
But then the lady completely throws her husband, Michael, under the bus.
no rope
my
tied to the
husband
plate.
did that.
What is
but
that?
Anyway, I
Your
don't know.
husband did that.
Yeah, I don't know why he did it.
Look at him sitting there. He's like, I agreed to come to this weird judge show with you to sue your former best friend and support you and be a great husband. And straight up throws him under the bus. Like, come on, Michael deserves better than this. You did him dirty. And I'd like to take a moment, just sit right there. I'm gonna tell you how no, that's not what I was trying to say. I'd like to take a moment here to pause. Look how freaking white his teeth are. I don't think those are veneers. They might be, but I don't think so. What does he use? Is he just throwing bleach on those teeth? Because they are so white and they look all natural. Steve, I gotta give it to you. Your pearly whites are looking fantastic. All this, and we're 5 minutes into the first episode, and I understand the premise of what's going on. The whole show is actually really good, but the cases are just a baseline for Steve Harvey to do comedy, improv, all that good stuff. It really is a pure comedy show that just needs a situation to make it funny. I thought they might have done like something like realistic, like try to make it Judge Judy just with more comedy, but no. It's 100% a comedy show, and the cases are there just to support the comedy. That's basically every sitcom. If you look at Seinfeld, it's making his life funny. If you look at The Office, it's making mundane work life at an office funny. Every good comedy show or movie or whatever, it just needs a baseline of something to make funny. Mundane things actually can be the funniest, like The Office or Community. Now this, where they're just taking like the law courtroom drama and making it like just a hilarious show, and they've done a really good job of it. Unlike Seinfeld or those other sitcoms, this show is completely unscripted, and it makes it even harder because I'm sure the producers try to find plaintiffs and defendants that have like good personalities, but they're not comedians. So Steve Harvey is really working solo here to make the whole show like that entertaining, and it makes it much harder for him. But if you think about it, he's been doing that kind of stuff on his own talk show for years and Family Feud. He's really, really good on his feet at taking what people say and making it just like really fun. Back to the actual cases of the show, The Foundation, they don't matter at all. It doesn't even matter if the case makes any sense or if you have facts or evidence or really anything pertaining to that case. It's just he said, she said. It's going back and forth, trying to find the comedy and all of it. This whole case was about a fallen fence and also a party for whatever reason, and we'll just leave it at that. It literally made no sense.
Okay, do you remember what day this was, Mooey?
It was in the morning. Like,
I'm just trying to narrow down the day.
right.
Do you remember the day of the week? Was it a Monday or Tuesday? You got 7 to pick from.
2017.
Would that sound close to you?
It was 2017, Steve.
Well, we do know it was 2017.
It didn't make any sense, but it makes for really good TV. And I bet you this show is even so much funnier if you're in the live audience, because Steve Harvey is so funny, and I think there's a lot of things they probably cut out because you got to make it for TV to make it fit in your slot. But he's just so good at reacting to situations, and the people in the audience are dying laughing. They literally can't even handle how funny this is. But on a serious note, Steve Harvey in this show has unlimited power, and it's a great thing. He is changing the world one little court case at a time. But I think what we should do is the same premise, but Steve Harvey is president. President Steve Harvey of the United States of America. That's what we should do. That'd be a good show, and he'd actually probably be a pretty good president because he'd just be making everybody laugh the whole time. I thought I wanted to go to law school, but turns out I don't. I just want my own reality judge show where I'm best friends with Steve Harvey. I think a good tagline for the show would be "Welcome to Steve Harvey," where everything is made up and the cases don't matter. Steve Harvey is a really good choice for this show because he's really good at making any situation funny. But he really just does whatever he wants. Like, he's like taking photos in the courtroom or coming out behind the bench, which I don't think judges do. But he does it because he's Judge Steve Harvey and he makes his own rules. Some of the cases seem like they're actual friends and the whole thing is a joke. Like this couple, boyfriend and girlfriend, and the girlfriend is suing because he won't marry her.
Is suing her partner for $4,800 for breaking his promise to marry her.
With my man of 20 years, I'm suing him for broken promises. He proposed and failed to marry me.
I would say it's probably not a really good court case if you leave in the same car to go home to the same house because you're married and you have kids together. During this entire court case, they are just having a good time, and she's like, yeah, he's a really good father, and he's like, I love her so much, and they keep telling each other how much they love each other. But that makes sense, because you know what that old saying is, if you really love someone, sue them. And as the case gets underway, we're 8 seconds into this case, Steve makes a startling discovery.
Your last statement was what?
I have 3 kids with this man,
One
of which is 8 weeks old.
What are you writing?
She said a lot, Your
I was just thinking the same thing.
Knowing Judge Steve Harvey, he's keeping it impartial, just like any good judge should.
Little brother, this ain't a good look.
And when the facts do matter, Steve is all over it.
You made a list in 2005, 2008, 13, 17, and 21. Who is Colleen?
My cousin.
Because she in all the lists. I don't know who Colleen is, but Colleen has stood the test of time. Susan fell off. Susan in 2005.
She's still a good friend. Still a good friend.
Well, she ain't on the list no more.
At the end of this case, just like all of Judge Steve Harvey's cases, justice was served. He tries to make them get married, but apparently that isn't legal. So he gives her way more money than she was asking for, and he's like, they told me I'm not allowed to give more money than they were asking for, but he's like, I don't care, I'm the Judge Steve Harvey. My TV show, he gives twice as much. She wanted $5 grand, they gave her 10 grand.
I'm not supposed to go any higher than what a litigant asked for. I'm giving you $10,000.
After watching episodes and gathering evidence on how good Judge Steve Harvey's new show is, it's time for me to give you my final verdict. And now you're in the court of Judge Joshy, or JJ.
It's a big world out there, and it's filled with people that just don't see eye to eye. See, that's why I come in. See, I ain't got a law degree, and I'm way too fly to wear a robe. But this is where common sense presides, in my house. Court is now in session.
My name's Judge Joshy, and this is my court. Overall, this show's actually really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a bingeable show where you could sit down and watch 3 seasons of it. If you watch one every week or whatever, I think it's actually an enjoyable show to watch, or a little bit here and there. It's one of those shows you don't have to consistently watch. You can watch a part of it and be working on something. Some of the cases are just so blatantly ludicrous. It'd be nice maybe if they had the cases just be a little more serious, because it really is just a joke fest, which is fine. It's a comedy show, but not all the jokes land. And so a lot of times you look at Steve Harvey and everything's off the cuff. It's not scripted, obviously, but he's trying to make every single line funny. And a lot of the plaintiffs and defendants, I think, are trying to make funny lines as well. And when every single line is trying to be a joke that you're trying to land, sometimes that can be a little much. And I think it would be a little bit funnier if people actually had arguments, but then I guess they wouldn't be in a funny mood. But it'd be funny to watch Steve Harvey roast them the whole time. Participants do seem like they're genuinely having a good time. This is a purely comedy show. Contestants get it, Steve Harvey gets it. I will say, when you're doing a show like this, you have to, where everything's just off the cuff, he has to keep giving lines because he's not sure what's going to stick. It's not like it's a stand-up routine where you test out and then go do it in front of an audience. He's doing this, and so he has to throw out those lines and see if they stick, and not all of them do. Not all of the jokes land. A lot of them do. At the end, Steve Harvey is a people's person, and that's why they call this the People's Court. Besides that, episode 2 has one of the funniest promos for any show I've ever seen.
I got to have that picture. You're the stupidest dude I've ever met.
This is actually a pretty enjoyable show. It made me laugh a lot. I really liked it, and I think you should watch it as well. Thanks for watching Judge Joshy. We will see you in the next video of whatever random topic I can think of.